And so let's get into our first topic. So our first topic is, and let me make sure I got it right here. And there won't be any edits on this video, no major edits. This is live. It'll come to you pre-recorded. But so the first topic is 100K a year is not enough. All right, so let me do a screen share before you get upset with me. And I'm going to walk you through some things. So don't be upset with me. All right, here. So I'm going to do a screen share. All right, so let's see. So that's not the one I want to get to yet. So let's talk through some things. So this is hopefully you can see my screen here. Yeah. So why 100K, $100,000 income no longer buys the American dream in most places. And so the American dream. And so I guess maybe at first, so the article, and this is from CNBC. So I know some people say, Ken, where are you getting these articles from? So I'm doing a screen share so you can see. Let me put me to the bottom. Let me put me over here to the bottom, move me out of the way so you can see. All right, so the American dream, it's important to understand what that is or what the perceived dream it is. So for many people, it involves a combination of owning a home, getting married, having kids, and making enough after expenses to save for retirement. And of course, you want to have leisure and things like that, date night, traveling, any hobbies you're into. I'm into bowling, so I love bowling. So I know I want extra money out when I take care of those other things mentioned. So the benchmark, and so this article goes on to say the benchmark of a six-figure salary used to be the gold standard income. Sabrina Romanoff, a clinical psychologist, told NBC it represented the tipping point of finally earning a disposable income and building savings and spending based on your wants, not your needs. And so, and then it goes on and it talks about a study that they did was more than half, 52% of Americans say they would need at least $100,000 a year to feel financially comfortable, with 26% saying they would need a salary in the range of 100,000 to 149,000, basically 150, according to a 2023 CNBC Your Money survey conducted by SurveyMonkey. Now, the thing that I want to talk about is the reason that this is a challenge sometimes is because of this. Let me see. All right, so I want to show you something, and we'll talk about it from a couple different angles. The reason that $100,000 may be a challenge these days and living off of it because I want to show you something. All right, so I always like to make it practical, and you can look this up yourself too. So you can go to, I found this calculator. This is an inflation calculator from let's see here, the Federal Reserve Bank of uh, Minneapolis. I don't know how to pronounce that, forgive me. So, all right. So let's show you what $100,000 looked like. I play with these calculators sometimes because I'm like, wow. Because you can feel it, but until you actually put the calculator into what you thought you were feeling, that's when it becomes real and you're like, oh wow, okay, I get it now. All right. So if you were in 2000, let's if you were in 2000, in the year 2000, some of you may not be old enough for that, but let's just show you what $100,000 would have been worth then and what it is worth 2023. So the $100,000 today back then would have been it would have had the spending power of 176,000, almost $177,000. That's significant. So think about the consumer staples, the things that you purchase on a day-to-day basis. Your money's going pretty far. From the end, and you got leftover, you can save for retirement, and you can do other things, and so that's just showing you what it looked like at a snapshot in 2000. Now let's just show you how it slowly starts to, inflation starts to erode that spending power over time. So and just 5 years later, it was worth 156,000, but still worth more than what it is for today. All right. So now let's go to 2010. 2010 and calculate. It would have been worth pretty much 140. And I remember that time period where even, and let's even like, okay, we're talking about 100,000, but I remember this time period. So let's half in it and go 50,000, 50,000. And so even your 50,000 in 2010 would have felt like 69. And yeah, I'm saying that right. Yeah. That's how I would have felt. That's how I would have felt. Now, let's keep going. 2015, just back in 2015. So, let's just say a person does make that. And so that's why I just, when you're thinking about this stuff, man, you don't be upset with the person saying that, 50,000 or 100,000 isn't enough, because that's usually where they're coming from. And if you're someone that wants to continue to do better for your family, you gotta look yourself in the mirror and say, man, you know what? You might be right. Like, it feels like I'm squeezed, because you are. You're being squeezed by inflation. Your money is not going as far. So even in 2015, that 50,000 would have felt like, um, yeah, I think I'm saying that right. Yeah. Now let's, and if you were in that smaller percentage of making 100,000, my thing is, hey, it would have felt like that same 2023 back then would have been 128,000. I might be saying it in reverse. Sometimes I get myself all turned around, but that's all good. But you get the point. You get the point. Now, but let me show you something else. I went to NerdWallet and I was playing around. And look, because this inflation thing ain't no joke, man. So let's see. Uh, so I want to show you something here. Let me move me out of the way so I can see. All right. So, oh, it deleted it. Starting the thing. Oh, let's say we're gonna do the same exercise. We are 2024. You bought something for 100, then you purchased the same item. Select the final year. Okay, so I need to do it backwards. Okay. And if you say I'm doing something wrong, you go play with the calculator and you manipulate it so you can, the biggest point is just understanding the example. So cut me some slack. All right. You don't have to be perfect to understand this stuff. Sometimes they try to make it super complicated, but it's not, All right. So, okay. So look, check this out. So inflation calculator, learn how inflation erodes your money. This resource is NerdWallet. If you have a better resource, drop it down there. We're not trying to make this rocket science. We're just trying to make this understandable for the everyday person that don't have all this time to be doing all this. But if you do, you can go to NerdWallet or you can go find another inflation calculator. It's all good. All right, so let's say in 2000, you bought something for $100 and then purchased the same item in 2024. All right, cool. How much would that item cost? 181.38. Think about that. So think about the calculator I just showed you, and this is what's eating up your money. It's just the cost of things are being more and more based on inflation. So let's just say let's move it to 2000. That's 2000. Let's move it to 2005. That same $100 thing. All right. Yeah. So, but you get the example. So the more and more you play with this calculator, it'll just make this inflation thing real for you. A lot of times you may hear it as clickbait, and it may feel like clickbait, and people are, that's how they make their money. They do clickbait ads and things of that nature to attract, and then advertisers come in, do all that stuff. But we're not trying to clickbait you. We just telling you, like, look, this is what it is, but that's okay. And if you And if you hadn't reached the 100,000 mark yet, and they say most people aren't going to make 100,000 in their lifetime. Well, how about you not be one of them? How about you be the ones that do, and you put yourself in position? And so, with that being said, hey, not I don't only just talk about the reality of what we are in the economy and what's going on. I also provide resources that can help you improve your situation. And one of the resources that I have uh, available to you is Level Careers. Level Careers is uh, they offer courses that can help you on if you're trying to get on a six-figure track. The thing here is they focus on careers in the tech space that can help you eclipse that 100,000. That's the low side, to be honest with you, with some of these career paths. If you really lock in, I get it. It's not for everyone, but if it is for you, hey, let's get into it. Here's a little testimonial. Uh,
When I asked him about some of the resources that I knew of that could help prepare me for that transition from SDR to account executive. Um, the course is taught by Kevin Dorsey, and it is absolutely not with just all sorts of gems to help put you in the right frame of mind to be an account executive. Also, give you some very tactical and helpful sort of tools to really maximize your success.
Yeah, so that's just a little small clip that I want to share. But if you're trying to earn more faster, level up your career, um, no degree or experience required, feel free to join. The thing I like about it is they have a 14-day money back guarantee. So if you don't like it, you can get your money back within 14 days. These are some of the companies that have hired some of the students. I actually personally know the CEO, and the thing I love about the CEO, he's not just selling courses, he also lives the life as well. So like he's done these things, and the teachers of these courses also are practitioners as well. And so that's the thing that I always tell people: when you're looking for courses or you're looking for help or support or coaching, make sure the person is doing the thing that you're getting the help with and where you're trying to go. So, over 6,000 students enrolled. Feel free to join. If you join and you use the code KEN, KEN, you'll get a discount. You'll get a discount there, and that'll be my way that I'm bringing one resource to you. Hey, and if you check it out and it doesn't resonate with you, all good. It is all good. Okay, so back to the show. Let me unshare, stop sharing. All right. So our takeaways from there is, we talked about it last week, but inflation is real. The $100,000 still doesn't. The $100,000 is not buying the American dream the way it used to. But it's because of the cost of things are getting more, and the salary and wages aren't keeping up with the pace of inflation. So you can look it up for more details there, but that's just more context around that. And so but my biggest thing is, hey, let's control the controllable. If you're feeling frustrated, if you're not happy with your situation, let's do something about it. If you want to do something about it, if not, then hey, that's okay too. But it's gonna be a rocky road, and you're gonna pretty much have to tighten up and play defense and just penny pinch and just make the best of what you have, which we always should do that anyway, being good stewards of our income. But again, you can only save so much. So I'm encouraging people to play offense too. And with that, sometimes offense is changing careers. Like I showed you earlier with Level Careers. But if tech is not your thing, figure out what your thing is, and then also like do your research and look like what is the trajectory of the future earning potential, and so that can really help you start to overcome some of this inflation. Because we're all impacted with it in some ways. It's just that some of us are making more money, which is helping us not, which is not helping, which is helping us not feel it as much. But we all feel it in our different ways. I remember I went to the gas station. I went to the gas station, and I think the gas was like 4.50 or something like that. And I was like, dang, okay. But you know, it is what it is. You gotta live with it. I gotta put it in my vehicle to move around. And so, you know, it is what it is. All right. So look like look like Keon joined us, and he told us that he will be joining a little late. So we just covered 100,000 is no longer the American dream. Uh,
Mm.
as we close this, do you have any thoughts on the 100,000? I went over inflation calculator. I went over the inflation calculator to show why, and I did the comparison of how much 100,000 went back in our parents' day because it went further
Oh,
up
for sure.
up to the present day. And then I also used the calculator that showed how much 100,000, like $100, an item costing $100 in the early 2000s versus today, and seeing like the stark differences to make that connection. And so I just gave you a quick summary because you're 1 year into the workforce, so it'd be good to get your perspective on where you living in Philly, getting ready to go to Boston, a high cost of living. Are you and with your current income, and of course, it's going to continue to explode and surpass the 100,000 because of the career path that you chose. But are you feeling the inflation at the current income that you're earning
I'll
from
say,
from a
it's
Gen Z perspective?
it's funny that you mentioned, especially like it definitely the location factors in a lot. Like it's one thing when you're looking at an area that's a lower cost of living, like and I say Philly, some people are like low cost of living because some parts of it's really expensive, but man, that's probably most areas. But when you're in an area with say like where you can pay a lower amount for rent, for example, versus when you have to move to an area like in New York or Boston or certain parts of California, you definitely feel it. And so things you might have got away with before, or, a little, you might not have been running as tight of a ship before, but things start to kind of like in sports when they say when you're winning, you don't notice all the mistakes when you win. They say winning covers things, but when expenses go up, you start to see like, oh, was I really spending my money as efficiently as possible? And then in terms of 100,000, is it not the American dream? I mean, I would love to have 100,000. Um, definitely, I think that's still a great amount of money to have. Are you set if you have 100,000? I don't know if you was ever truly set. Maybe like back in the 1900s, but not in the past like 40 years do I think you've been set with 100,000, but it's definitely a good start to have 100,000 saved up.
Yeah, and I might cut one of the topics because I think let's dive in this real quick because let's write. I don't if I can figure this thing out real quick. I want to
Mhm.
just show people. I want to do a visual of $100,000. So
Mm,
so you gotta so you got I'm gonna write 100,000. My laptop is touchscreen, so $100,000. So let's just say you gross $100,000. So then let's talk about taxes. you know, I'm not a tax guru, but let's just say it takes out 15K. I don't know why that's up there. Move that out of the way. Let's
I
say
would, I would
15.
say even more than that.
Yeah, but I'm just being nice. I'm being nice, but let's make it
They live
20.
in Florida.
Let's make it 20. That puts you at 80. 80 net. But you got to think about with that 80 net, you haven't done anything yet. So let's say you want to live the American dream, right? The American
Right.
dream. Now interest rates are like 7%. What I had looked at them today. I should have looked at them, but I didn't look at them. This was impromptu. So let's just say you have a mortgage, right?
Right.
But it's a 7% mortgage if you get in the house today. So with that being said, let's just say you have a $200,000 crib, $200,000 crib at 7% interest. $200,000 crib at 7% interest. Mortgage calculator. I ain't gonna be lazy. Let me go to the mortgage calculator because y'all be probably judging me if I grossly inaccurately. Okay, so 225, you can just pull up on your phone. I'm pulling up on my phone. I'm gonna go 225 loan, 30-year fix. All right, monthly. All right, so it says monthly payments. Takes no time to put this in either. All right. Let's just say you kind of at a 700. Well, it says the average. I think the average credit score is lower than that, but that's okay. All right, so all right, then you put, so let's just say it's 1638. That's not counting private mortgage insurance and taxes. So let's just
Right.
say that's $2,000 a month. Let's just say you're at $2,000 a month, right?
Right.
Okay. What is $2,000 times 12?
That's 24,000, ain't it?
Yep. 24,000. So you're basically subtracting 24. 24 from that. Where'd that put you?
That'll be 56.
That's 56K. What was your bills? What bills? You know, bills will probably run you another 500. What, 500 a month, right?
Yeah, maybe say 750.
All
Be
right.
safe.
So I mean, am I being too aggressive here? 750 times 12, right?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
That's 9,000. 56 minus 9,000. Where does that put you?
Shoot, what, 47?
That puts you at 47.
Mm-hmm.
That puts you at 47. All right. So 47K left. Now, let's just say, you know, you got a whip, right? Yeah, you got the whip. You got the
Yeah.
whip. Average average car note. Now, I don't recommend getting, you know, car loans and all that, but if you have to, be able to pay it off within a year or two. But I get it. When you just starting out, you gotta do what you gotta do, stretch it out. But like, hey, I'm just telling you what I do. So it's on you. But let's just say you say I ain't listening to what Ken talking about. I'm getting me a whip. So that's 600. Let's just say it's 600 a month, okay? How much would the gas be?
I guess it depends on how often you drive, but for me, I was driving almost every day, so I was filling up at least twice a week. So I broke it down to say, let's say it's about 70.
So 70 times 4 is 280. So we got 600 plus the gas. That puts you
Now,
at,
that's if you're driving a car, though. Now, if you're driving a truck or SUV, you might have to double it.
well, let's just say they got a car. We're gonna give them that. We're gonna say they got a car. We hadn't factored in insurance yet either, though. So the car note 500, the gas is 280. Let's just round it up to 3. So that's 600, 300. How much is the insurance?
Anywhere from 1 to 200,
Let's say
250.
200. With insurance going up these days, let's just say 200. So we got, so that's really $1,100, but we're gonna say 1,000. We're just gonna say an extra 1,000 because we, you know, we want to add some balance. So $1,000 times 12 is 12. So you subtracting that off. So that puts you at 35.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing: you haven't eaten yet. You haven't invested in your retirement or brokerage account. You haven't saved any money yet. You haven't purchased any clothes, no trips. You got 35K left to you. And then also you understand what you mentioned earlier about miscellaneous things that when you was comparing a lower cost to a higher cost, where a higher cost would expose some of those bad money habits, where so most people in their budget don't have a track on every single dollar. So usually there's a miscellaneous, there's some money leaking out of there just because you're just doing various knickknack things, subscription, oh, I'm gonna go here, hit Starbucks here, whatever.
Mm.
You like, and that's fine because nobody's expected to be perfect with a budget, right? So like,
Right.
so let's just say to eat. How, let's talk about eating. Let's get back to eating.
Maybe 100 a week.
Man, what y'all eating? Y'all ain't
I'm
y'all buying a
being
whole bunch of
realistic
rice.
because some people don't cook.
But if you don't cook, it's gonna be more than 100. If you're eating out multiple times for the whole week, you're eating out, door dashing or Uber, like Uber Eats and all that. Like, they throw them premiums on there and it can get a little pricey.
I think it depends on what the person trying to do. Because some people they be finessing it. They get the McDonald's app, they get all the coupons. But some people, like you said, do just be spending a crazy amount on
All right.
DoorDash, delivery, and all that.
So you said 100. All right. So we're gonna go 100, which I don't think that's realistic, but
Let's say 300 a month on food. What do you think?
phew, how much do you spend on food? Let's make it real.
Oh, no, that's a good question. I don't want to plead the fifth. I mean, let me think. I mean, we it really depends on the season, but we might go out to eat like once a week. But that's two of us. So if we go out to eat once a week, and it doesn't have to be a fancy spot every time,
But
but let's
just
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 say
ballpark it. Just ballpark it. It don't have to be perfect.
let's,
Just ballpark it.
let's just say it comes out to $100 every time.
Plus
But
the
that's what you.
groceries. Plus groceries.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even. So the grocery that would be something different then. But yeah, for this, so if it's 100 for a couple, I would say 50 for a person. So maybe 200 a month. Yeah, because 300 might be a lot for one person. I'm thinking about it for two people.
I'm gonna put 400 because I don't know where y'all be eating at, but divided by, so you said 300 times 12. That's
Are
3,600
you including groceries in this?
because you're eating it. Like,
Oh, okay. Well, if you're including
eating out is a
groceries, then
luxury, but it's still feeding your body. Like, it's not, you don't have to go eat out if you don't have a lot of money. You can go
I,
get
I would say
groceries,
I would
make
say
the food.
400 then.
Okay, so
Oh yeah, I would say
400.
400 if it's including both.
So that's almost 5K.
Yep.
So that's 30. How much do you want to save?
Well, let's say you're doing the emergency fund route, and you're
Now let's
you're
say you paying,
saving.
let's keep it simple. Saying you paying yourself uh the what the traditional retirement folks tell you, save 10%, at least 10% into retirement, 10-15% in retirement. So you got to do that off the 100K.
Let's figure out what the paycheck is then,
Well,
or we can just
100K,
or we can just say
100,
10K.
100 is just be 10K.
Okay, I don't think that's bad. Then save 10K. I think you can save more, but
Yeah, but then all right, so fun, all this other stuff. You ain't bought no shoes, you ain't bought no outfits, you hadn't you hadn't been did any traveling, no entertainment. This ain't even
I
really
would
talking subscriptions. This ain't even really talking about travel like gifts, birthdays. This ain't none of that.
I would go 5% to start, maybe 5% for 5K throughout the year. So then, what is that per month? Like almost 400 ish.
That leaves you with 15K. But I think that we've been very generous with the numbers. But let's say you have a kid.
Mm. You got to go back and massage some of them numbers.
But that's the point. So even at 50, so with 15K left over, and I think that's being very nice. I think it's being very nice.
Yeah, I
But
think tax is gonna eat some of that.
correct. I think taxes really gonna eat more into that. You know what I'm saying? Like I think taxes are really gonna eat into that.
Random expenses.
Like for you like, man, we going to Mauritius, bro. Like, so with 15K, maybe you want to get mama something. Maybe you want to get your significant other something. Like when you really start doing the math, you like, ooh, I gotta make more money. Like, if I really want to be able to move around, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's you know, I don't want to draw it out, but that's just giving you an ideal. But then also what's not being spoken that we didn't take into account, the price of things are continuing to go up. And
Yep.
so just even purchasing the same things, it's just going up, and it's like slowly like a leak. Like, have you ever seen a leak overnight where you gotta put a bucket under it, and then when you wake up, you see the bucket almost full, and you like, dang. And so like
Uh-huh.
it's like that small leak with your income, and it's slowly pulling away from your spending power, but it's not noticeable until you go to sleep and you wake up and you like, dang, what happened? That's inflation, and that's why we're saying we got to keep making more money. And if you are a couple, you got to work together. Like, always, hey, start the IKEA relationship, pool both monies together. All this, I value this, and
Yep.
I don't want this, I don't want that. Ain't nobody got time for all that with this inflation going on, and life is life, and like, and y'all want to live a fruitful life. Like, don't nobody got time for all that. Like, it's absolutely insane conversation. But yeah, so let me get off of this whiteboard. That was a whiteboard moment. But yeah.
I like the whiteboard. I think that needs to be a regular on the Money Show.
Yeah, so that was a whiteboard moment. I was getting ready to pivot to the next segment, but I thought that was important to share that